The purpose of the Iran war was to prevent the nation from getting nuclear weapons, or so you thought. It turns out now that America may be bringing nuclear weapons to the party, after all, and delivering them directly to Iran. And if you're being a pragmatist and you're looking at the way the war is going, and you're also looking at the geography of Iran and the history of the nation, and you can see how rugged and arid and mountainous this massive nation of 100 million people, twice the size of Texas. I mean, would the U.S. military be able to take over and occupy Texas? I don't think so, right? Not without nuclear weapons. And, well, that's the new report that the Trump administration is considering that. We'll show you that report and see what we make of it. We think that would, of course, be a very bad thing, right? And yet, you look at the stalemate of the war now, and you have to ask yourself, and the realities of, boots on the ground, and how obviously impossible that would be without losing hundreds of thousands, millions of people in the invasion of Iran. It is just a very, very tough nation. Listen, this is not me knocking the American military. I love the American military, but there's a reason why this country has never been conquered. There's a reason why this country doesn't get conquered. Its kings, its shahs have been able to sell out its own interests to Russia and to the British Empire and so on. But the country doesn't get conquered because it is itself a fortress. So the Persians have been there since before Christ, right? Like this is the 5,000 years ancient. It's an antiquity civilization. Obviously, the Persians predate the foundations of Islam, for instance. And so that's kind of like the history of the country. It is itself a geographic fortress, and you would need something like a nuclear weapon in order to go in and finally level the place. I'm not arguing for that, of course, but also I saw this map and it just shocked me. This would be the equivalency of the populations of various Iranian cities. Again, there's 90 million people live in Iran. These cities have similar populations to New York City, Omaha, Boston, Phoenix, San Antonio, a bunch of cities with millions of people. Tehran has nearly 10 million people in it. Chicago, here we go, it's 3 million. These are big cities. These are, again, good luck conquering them with a conventional standing army. You're going to need something else. And maybe that's why people are starting to talk about nuclear weapons. Okay. 20 cities with over 27 million people. It's crazy, dude. Talking about how Iran was able to reverse engineer some of our drones and so on. Because, again, they're an ancient people and they got some smart cookies over there. Anyway, Trump says recently that he plans on declaring the Strait of Hormuz a U.S. territory.
Declaring the Hormuz Strait a territory of the United States.
The White House says that he was just joking about that. And actually, it's very interesting. Recent reports say there's big outflows of U.S. military hardware from the Middle East. We may be picking up our ball and going home. You can never know these things, right? You don't know, but there seems to be some major movement this weekend in the Middle East. I mean, we'll see, right? We'll see. But there's some reports of the very Arab countries getting frustrated with the war, and the American bases now being subject to Iranian ballistic missiles that have gotten so much more sophisticated and so much better as they fired more of them. They've been able to kill our soldiers. It's something that was kind of unthinkable at the beginning of the war, that an Iranian ballistic missile would be so accurate that it would evade the missile interceptors and be able to hit the barracks in a Jordanian base. Right? And they were able to do that. There were reports that Trump made last-minute emergency visits on Air Force One to fix something with the Iran war. Those are uncorroborated. He was at his Bedminster Club. But he was very quiet this weekend. The president was very, very quiet this weekend. So there's no doubt that something was going on. Now, Iran and Oman have struck a deal for new shipping traffic. We covered this. They reached a deal for navigation through the Strait of Hormuz. This is a good thing. This is positive. This is kind of like exactly what Trump wants, is the Strait of Hormuz to be open. Iran officially confirms shipping map detail. Let's go ahead and look at that map. Okay, fine, whatever. Here's the shipping in Oman. Here's the shipping in Iran. You can use either one. There's going to be tolls and fees or whatever. Who knows? Iran and Oman edging closer to a deal on Strait of Hormuz shipping and management, says Bloomberg. Okay, that's very positive. Very, very positive. We'll see what happens next. Some reports say that Trump is perfectly content in our current position. He views it as a modern-day siege because he's able to lock down all of Iranian ports, and he's able to just wait them out and wait for crushingly bad economics to crash the Iranian economy, even though they're being propped up surreptitiously by Russia and China. But, it's a complicated chess game. Trump has become very upset, frankly, about, you can see this, has become quite upset and has lashed out at Iran's belligerence. He says, we are low-keying it with Iran, says Trump to Axios. Okay. So that's this is obviously the words of the president. So I want to take that with heavy weight. But also here's the oil market prices. You can see oil is ticking up, going in the very wrong direction. It's up 20 points, 32% in the last 6 months. Bad direction for the midterms for Republicans. And here comes Marjorie Taylor Greene, former Republican, saying we're going to nuke Iran. Okay. I'm going to read you this, and let's consider the source, right? Marjorie Taylor Greene has been banished, right, from politics. She quit on her own constituents. She quit the MAGA movement in a just such a humiliating crash out, shrieking and going on The View and turning on everyone and femme-coded, left-wing coded language, and it was super humiliating, and nobody should be proud of it. But perhaps, she still has some people that tell her things, and that are close to the administration. Let's read, and I'll let you decide. They're discussing using nuclear weapons on Iran as a strategy. Yes, you heard that correctly. It's real. I'm not speculating. It's pure evil. Last time we used a nuclear weapon was in Hiroshima. It vaporized a bunch of people. Extreme suffering continued for the Japanese people. Radiation sickness, skyrocketing cancer rates, generational birth defects. Not to mention wiping out all means of their economy, and the suffering was so great that all humanity vowed never again. Trump's administration were told by our own intelligence agencies that Iran was nowhere near creating a nuclear weapon, and then Israel, same line, repeated for decades, said Iran was only 2 weeks away. So we bombed them, killed their leaders, and Iran has controlled the Strait of Hormuz ever since, punishing the region. And now our government is the one actually discussing lowering the nuclear threshold in order to use nuclear weapons against Iran, even though Trump claims he's won the war 40 times. So you can see this is obviously dripping in anti-Trump animus. Trump promised no more foreign wars, but we may be on the verge of a nuclear holocaust. People need to speak out and boldly against this insanity. America is not untouchable. And if and when that happens, and I do mean everyone needs to hold the leadership fully accountable, don't use nuclear weapons to stop this war now. Now, my entire timeline is this, right? White House, Marjorie Taylor Greene says Trump's going to use nuclear weapons, MTG, Trump's going to do nuclear weapons, right? So, take it with a grain of salt. Here's a community note on one of them, right? The claim comes solely from Greene. As of this post, the White House has not confirmed any such meetings. No government official, credible news outlet has corroborated that. Okay. What would a modern nuclear weapon do? Hundreds of thousands to several million people would die, depending on the weapon's yield, target city's population density, and detonation height, air burst versus ground burst, time of day, weather, and some other factors. But if you were to use if you were to nuke a modern city, like in New York City, you would have 600,000 fatalities and probably 1 million dead. If you were to use a modern weapon, W-88 class, 455 kiloton nuclear weapon, hundreds of thousands, millions dead, depending on the city. Moscow, Beijing, London, New York are the ones used in these simulations. What drives the death toll? blast pressure that collapses the buildings, thermal radiation causing severe burns and fires, and kill most people in the core zones. Fallout adds longer death downwind, especially the ground burst. Dense urban cores produce the highest numbers, of course. And as you can see here, there's a lot of urban core cities all throughout Iran. Anyway, I mean, my take on this is obviously don't use nuclear weapons. Like, that's not the way to prove that Iran shouldn't have a nuclear weapon, is to nuke Iran. But is Marjorie Taylor Greene just looking for another axe to grind against the administration? And does she have anything else to back this up? No, it seems not. But, I think the important part about all this is, like, which direction is all of this heading? Is Trump removing troops from the region? Are things de-escalating or escalating? Or are they just going to stay the same? Who can hold out the longest? That seems to be the most likely path right now. What do you think, ladies and gentlemen? Using nukes? Would using nukes be justified? Hoo boy. I guess you never know what's going to happen these days. We continue to pray for peace, and I don't think you should too. You should pray for peace. It'd be the right thing politically. I think it'd be the right thing morally, and I also think it'd be the right thing for the continuation of the MAGA movement. And it's right thing, I think, from a Christian perspective. But let me know what you think in the comment section. It's your boy Benny. Like, share, and subscribe.